Hello everyone. Today I would like to highlight a few important points about the constructive process and how it has been moving forward parallel to the destructive events of the last 2 centuries. Let's take a look at the 19th century, which was a time when unprecedented technological and social changes began to take place in human society. Up until the 19th century, human civilization was moving forward in a relatively slow crawl. But in the mid-19th century, this process suddenly branched into a separate and rapid movement that has since begun to challenge and even threaten the destructive patterns of social and political life that were prevalent for millennia. At the time this challenge began in the 19th century, many destructive mindsets and behaviors were still at the height of their legitimacy. Stronger countries colonized the weaker ones, wealthy individuals legally owned their fellow human beings as slaves, and men treated women as part of their personal possessions. Physical force reigned supreme. Othering and separation, supremacy-seeking, domination through assertion of power by dictators, and death of innocent soldiers and civilians in service to the schemes of their leaders, all of these things comprise the basic elements of life in most human societies across the globe. Up until the 19th century, there was no shame in any of these modes of behavior. Indeed, they were upheld as morally justified and even necessary. The common origin of all of these destructive elements was the success of demagoguery, that is, the use of a particular physical characteristic or social construct by powermongers and supremacy seekers to divide human beings, dehumanize and create fear of the other, and convince those who got to identify themselves as belonging to the insider circle to give their lives to ensure the perpetuation of the power of their leaders. These structures of domination and subjugation were upheld through hegemonic propaganda and became so internalized that their existence appeared natural and God-given. Still going on in the 21st century. But the key point is that unlike 2 centuries ago, when they represented the natural order, they have now been delegitimized. Today, racists and nationalists can no longer stand up with pride and assert their views with impunity. They will be called out and challenged. Precisely because of this constructive collective consciousness, which is challenging and threatening the old mindsets and worldviews, upheavals of various kinds have developed within the destructive plane. Those who have lost legitimacy and privilege will not give up their comfortable ways without a fight. They're bound to take a last stand. And that is the reason why at this point in human history, the destructive process in the world is so much more visible to the naked eye. In the context of the new historical dialectic, the turmoil in our world today may be considered to be largely the result of the threat posed by the constructive process to the destructive, not the other way around. As such, contemporary extremism, whether political or religious, may be viewed mainly as a reaction to the threat posed by the new spirit of our age to a dying way of life. Be it religious extremists seeking to re-establish caliphates in the Middle East, or white supremacists spreading hate against immigrants and identifying them as the root of all social ills in various Western countries, or political candidates promising to return a country to its old days of glory, all of these entities share a striking similarity. They all look to the old days as their utopia and hold out the promise to their desperate listeners that they are the ones who will succeed in turning back the clock to the days when they were entitled to have pride and privilege simply because they belonged to a specific group. Despite the visible turmoil and destruction that is going on in the world today, each one of us has the power to align ourselves with the positive energies that are inherent in the constructive process and to become powerful catalysts in facilitating a more just and peaceful world.